Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, from Eric Lima's Shenanigans of 1977, it's time to head back in our mental DeLoreans where we talk about things of pop culture back in the 80s and 90s with nostalgic shenanigans. And our host of this great segment is the youngster in the picture from the first grade in the 80s, Mr. Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima's Shenanigans, 1977 to episode 2168 of the show. How's it been? How's it going? And I want to apologize to all you good folks out there before I get started. I know I was a little upset because a lot of people were getting on my case about the video quality of some of my videos. I am really sorry, folks. What you guys is that it's been told to me many times. It's aggravating. And I was getting sick of it, and I was going completely out of my mind, and I was at the point where I say, next time someone tells me, buy me a new computer and buy me an app that can that has good quality, that can make good quality videos, and I can merge it. I can a merger app that gives good quality videos, and without any issues. And I do apologize for that. The app that I'm using right now can do more than 2 files at a time, because most of the merger apps that I've seen online and everything else can only do 2 videos at a time. And I want to make sure I want to get the whole video and not just part of it. You know what I mean? I want to make sure, I know it's not that easy. I want to give you guys some good quality entertainment. And that's the most important thing ever. And entertainment to me is a little bit more important now. Some of my videos are good, some are not, and that's the way it is. I'm very, very sorry, folks. Sometimes it gets really upset, and it really upsets because I can't afford the high quality stuff that some of the other YouTubers do out there. I mean, if I could find a better job and with better pay, I would be able to do so. But unfortunately, it is what it is. Can't afford to find a new place. Can't afford to find a new job for the time being, and everything else in between. It is what it is, and I'm sure, I pray that God will provide me a new, better job. If He does that, great, praise the Lord. But for right now, let's say it is what what you see is what you get, basically. If you can hear me though, that would be a bonus. All right, so I figured, I appreciate you guys. I know you guys want to watch my videos and you're very entertained. I do appreciate your support. I still appreciate your support. And I know you're trying to give me constructive criticism, but if it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again, I'm going completely insane, out of my mind. I felt like dealing with a bunch of kids. Like if you're a parent and you're dealing with a bunch of kids in the car, we're going on a long trip. Are we there yet? No. 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 Are we there yet? Now! I feel like Homer Simpson. Why, you little... Anyways, so that's what the situation is. I do apologize. What I'm trying to do is trying to be entertaining, and like my good friend Jason DeCanio said, sometimes we reset everything. The videos will be of good quality, so no worries. He said, no problem. I can deal with that. So, hope you like my shirt, my Kung Fu shirt. I like this shirt, man. Today is the second edition of Nostalgic Shenanigans. As you know, I always talk about things of pop culture, whether it be retail places that they used to be here, TV shows that used to be on the air, celebrities that were the cat's meow back in the day, all sorts of pop culture goodness of the 80s and 90s, the decade I grew up on. And yes, the youngster that you see on the intro was me, age 6, back in 1983. I'm 48 years old. You're talking 42 years ago, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, you probably look at the picture. You look nothing like the kid in the picture. No kidding. It's called growing up. Different than I was back in the day, man. And you ask, yeah, I should have gotten a haircut, but I was afraid of getting my hair pulled. That's probably the only reason why I get upset. I get scared and cry when I go get a haircut, is because afraid of getting my hair pulled. That could be it. Or afraid of having scissors slice me in the face or something like that. But I should have gotten a haircut before that. I knew that was a class pick from, like I said, from a school that I attended here in New Bedford when I was younger. It was Gomes School, and I was part of the special needs, special needs class, and that was those were trying times for me, the early '80s. I love the '80s and all that, but I went through some challenges in the '80s. But the most important thing is I survived it. I survived it. Came out of the '80s okay. Came out in the '90s okay, and it was safe for me to talk about some of the stuff that happened of pop culture in the '80s and '90s. So nostalgic shenanigans. I know on the first episode of that you heard me talk about the new Coke or Coke 2. And today I want to talk about a store that used to be at the mall that I work at right now. Now we're talking early '80s. Now I want to give you a little history lesson about this store. You give me a second here because I am going to all right, here we go. Now the name is called Zayre. All right, the store is called Zayre. It was a chain of discount stores that went from 1956 to 1990. The company's headquarters were in Framingham, Massachusetts. And over the years, Zayre Corporation sold the stores to the competing Ames department stores in 1988. And then in June of October of 1998, they did that. June of 1989, they merged with the TJX companies, which is the parent company TJ Maxx. We still have a TJ Maxx here today. And most of the stores still retained the Zayre name until 1990, which either most of the stores are closed or converted into Ames stores. And our mall's version of Zayre did our mall's Zayre did turn to an Ames in 1990. And I believe, so, it was founded by the Feldbergs, Max and Morris Feldberg, and they had an advertising consultant by the name of Bert Stern. And so Max decided to go and take a call. And he ended his phone conversation with the typical Yiddish phrase, "Sehr gut," or "very good." And then Stern repeated, Zayre. Where we needed a nice sounding name, and the men staring at one another, Zayre. Let's spell it Zayre for very good. They decided. So the name of the store came from a Yiddish term, meaning very good. Would you believe that? Imagine like, hey, let's go to the very good store. Zayre means very good. Imagine you say something like that and go, what do you mean very good store, Dad? Oh, Zayre. And I'm sure somebody will look up the history. So the Feldbergs, two Jewish immigrants founded the store. Did you believe that? It's amazing. It's amazing what these stores and this. So obviously, our Zayre store in the Dartmouth Mall did not come until 1971, as you know. Zayre was one of the anchor stores of our Dartmouth Mall, along with Sears and the Outlet Company at the time, before the Outlet Company closed out, and then in 1982, JCPenney replaced that. I would count Woolworth as an anchor of some sort, because it has an entrance as well. But so there were 3 stores that I would shop for Masters of the Universe figures. 2 of them are in the mall. One of them was across the street. Now, the one across the street, obviously, it's Kmart. I'll talk about that in a later episode. The other was Child World, which also I will talk about that in a later episode. And Zayre, which we're talking about right now. And also, there were also 3 stores that we should buy the Tommy Pocket games. Zayre was one of them. The other would be... I think Child World does have them. I would say 4, because Woolworth has them, and Kmart usually has them. So you got those 4 stores to buy the Tony Pocket games. But Zayre was also the store that I bought when I first bought my first deck of playing cards. Standard red deck playing cards in the back. Now, as you know, it is made expressly in British colony of Hong Kong for Zayre Corp, Framingham, Mass. Yep. These were the first deck of playing cards I bought at Zayre. And then to follow suit, and when I was a kid, I was a big Card Sharks fan back in the day, so I figured, if you're a true Card Sharks fan, you buy decks of cards with just red and blue backs on them. So this was a blue back, and this is the red back. This one was blue. All right, I got the blue here, the red here. I bought these at Zayre. My dad bought these for me when I was a kid long ago, and they said, Eric, how'd you still get a hold of them? They're in good condition. Well, over the years, I ended up getting rid of playing cards. But that was when I was younger because I was more focused on my schoolwork and everything else. 10 years ago, when I first started eBay 10 years ago. 10 years ago. I found these bad boys on eBay. And I figured, my first order of business is now I'm able to buy eBay gift cards again. And when I went on eBay, there was no, when I went to go search for eBay gift cards, they didn't have any at the time until 2015. They decided to bring them back and say, hey. So I first bought my first eBay gift card at Toys R Us in Dartmouth. And the first order of business was to buy these. This was my first eBay, and I think this was my first eBay item I bought. A deck of standard Zayre playing cards. And if I ever thought that I would find these again anywhere, I would say no way. I have them. I have them once again. I have my childhood in the palm of my hands here. This was my childhood back in the day. I used to collect playing cards. Thanks to Zayre. Zayre was like Walmart before Walmart was. Now, I've been thinking about this, and you know what? I never go, the funny part is I never leave home without a deck of playing cards. Especially these decks. When I was a kid, I used to carry these. I used to hold them just to keep me company. That way I won't cause any trouble. No, I could have done that. And so your parents are like, oh, you can't bring that, you can't bring that, you can't bring that. I want something to keep me company. I don't want to cause any trouble in my house, This is when I was a kid back in the day, man, So, yeah, so these were the decks of playing cards I bought at Zayre. Right here. Now I got to thinking, Now I got to thinking about this, and, I miss Zayre. I really, really do. I miss Zayre a whole lot. And, many people have thought, what would happen if Zayre was still around? What would have happened if Zayre was still around? I don't know if it would last in this era, that's for sure. But it would be in competition with Walmart. And I think Zayre would have evolved. I think Zayre would have, if it stood in the mall instead of changing over to Ames, I think it would, it would evolve, turn it into like a half supermarket, almost like a mini version of Walmart, almost. So I still think they're gonna still stand strong. Will they sell a lot of electronics? Back in the day when Zayre was, when it was Atari and ColecoVision and television, Nintendo as well. Because Zayre did not close in 1990, but and when Ames continued on, Ames did the whole thing, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and all that. And I think I'll talk a little bit about Ames on another episode of the show. So, episode of this segment here of Nostalgic Shenanigans. And I do miss Zayre. Would it survive in business like here? I don't think so. I don't. As much as I want it to, I don't think it'll survive this decade alone. But it would have been nice to have a Zayre around here, once again. But it is what it is, folks. There's nothing you can do, nothing you can, there's nothing at all you can say or do to bring it back, But we talk about it because we miss it. And we miss Zayre. Zayre was a good store. Shout out to the Feldberg brothers who are probably have passed away since then and everything else. And I would say thank you to the Feldberg brothers, Max and Morris, for bringing us Zayre. It used to be known as Shopper City. It was the Bell Shops. But what I'm proud about it is it was birthed here in New England. It was birthed here in the state of Massachusetts. I'm excited. I don't know about you guys, but seeing those decks of playing cards again, and now they're still in my hands. It felt like once again my childhood was complete, man. I do miss Zayre. I really, really do. Rest in peace, Zayre. We miss you. You were totally missed and still missed to this day. So that's all the time we have on this show. Episode number 2168 is complete. The second edition of Nostalgic Shenanigans. And like I said, tonight's SmackDown. And I think, like I said, there's one more week until WrestleMania. In fact, that's a week from tomorrow is WrestleMania. I'm really excited. Let's get rocking and rolling. All right, then I will see you guys later. You guys have a wonderful day. And until the next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and Do It for Bob Saget production, and in association with a Raving Bull for 3000 Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.